Served me well for, I think, 7 years. Time for a new one. Alright. Nice. New Sharado Classic.
What are we?
Welcome to the Okinawa Karate Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to the Okinawa Karate Podcast, the only karate podcast coming to you from the birthplace of karate, Okinawa, Japan. Sitting here in the flesh with the one and only invisible Sensei, Mr. Tuari Dawson, in my home. Happy to have you here, brother.
Oh, good to be here, man. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. It's an honor. And just so happy. I just want to raise a toast, if we may. Thank you so much for having me. Kari.
Ready.
Trying to learn more. Beautiful.
Come by. So, this is going to be kind of a short podcast compared to some of the other ones I've done in the past. I did a 3-part series with Tuari Sensei back in 2018 or 2019 or 2020. I can't remember when it was now. So you can go back and listen to that when I do the actual formal interview with him and learn about his history. Everybody knows who his podcast, and you've all listened to him. So you can go back and check more of his episodes. What we're doing today is just going to kind of give you a rundown of what we've been up to for the last 6 days, something like that.
Yeah.
So Tuari arrived on November 1st, right?
Yeah.
November 1st here on Okinawa. I was able to pick him up at the airport.
Check that footage.
First time we've ever met in person, actually. We've been friends for years now. Chatter probably once a week or more. Video chat with our buddy Michael Hagen from he's one half of the Way the Fist podcast. But this is the first time we've actually met in person. We've done a lot of training since you've been here in Okinawa.
Yeah.
But more so, we've done some sightseeing and just some hanging out. Some cultural activities, I guess we could say. Yeah. Both sharing of your culture.
Yeah. Sorry, Phoebes.
Phoebe, you have to be quiet while the camera's running, okay?
Cool.
You have to be quiet. Uncle Tuari's not going to pet you anymore because we know when Uncle Tuari pets you, then you make a lot of noise. Right? Go to bed. 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 Good girl. Bed. I wish you listened that well.
I wasn't listening that well.
Tell you what, take notes.
Shut up. Oh no, she doesn't. It's a glance. It's like, it's done.
So we had a little fun with that opening there with the Makiwara. That's been bothering me for a few months. I bought that Makiwara back at Sharado in 2016, I believe, and it's done me well. And I was down there last week or 2 weeks ago to buy another one from Sharado. I think that first one I bought was like 3,000 yen. So if it was 1-to-1 US dollar, $30, and now they want 13,200 yen. So we went to the hardware store 2 weeks ago and just bought a 2x4 pressure treated post. We'll throw in there. But in the meantime, I wanted to have a little fun using Tuari as a Makiwara.
He does use him as a Makiwara. I mean, look, you think it's a joke, but it was like half an hour and he's punching me in the head and I'm going, is it time to stop now? Is it time to stop now? He goes, in a minute.
Shh. You're a guest in my home. Be quiet. Don't talk.
I'm going, is this traditional Okinawa? And he goes, very.
Yeah. But let's get back to business here. I want you to give us a rundown. I know you're going to go home and you're going to do probably many episodes when you digest everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
But as a practitioner, almost 5 decades training in some form of martial arts. This is your 3rd or 4th time on Okinawa. You're a Goju-ryu practitioner.
Yeah.
But you did not step foot into a dojo to train in Goju-ryu while you've been here, right?
No.
And you spent a majority of your time outside the dojos, doing different things, sharing your culture, which we've got videos about. 3 or 4 different times you've done seminars. We'll show bits and pieces of those seminars. But let's get a rundown from your perspective. And I know you haven't had, when you go home, you'll like I said, you'll digest it all. You put your thoughts together. But if we didn't do something in person here, I think Michael Hagan and James Newman and a few other people would hate us forever. But believe it or not, I gotta say, he's only got 3 days left on the island, and this is the first time we've sat down, other than when Jonathan Ebersol came down to visit. Thank you very much for doing that,
thanks,
Jonathan. This is the first time he and I have sat down to record a podcast. We kept saying it over and over again, but
busy.
we're just busy. We were doing other things and enjoying the island, taking him around to show him different places.
Slow dancing, tango, all that sort of stuff. That takes time.
Boy, he's good. Good singer, good dancer.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the podcast. And I want to I'll do a couple of things, shout outs if I can. One to our brother, the third amigo, Michael Hagan Sensei, who both he and his lovely wife were very kind in picking me up in Beijing and taking me to the lovely
Wrong country.
home.
Taipei.
Sorry guys.
Not trying to start any wars
Not
here.
trying to sound to Taipei. Oh my gosh. And wrong country. Definitely wrong country. Cut.
No,
that's an edit point. And taking me to their lovely home, and it was really nice. It was a beautiful way to start my time in Asia. And I wish our brother Michael could have been here for it, but for another time. But a big shout out to the Simmers family who've been so very kind to me since I've been here. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome.
Your beautiful children, your incredible wife, your beautiful dog, who I am taking home with me, Phoebe, and James Pegovic Sensei, who has been an incredible host, allowing me to train at his dojo, and has been an incredible guide and a whole bunch of other things, and made some incredible introductions. My experience is hard to kind of put into words, to be quite honest, because, as you were saying, it is so overwhelming on so many levels, and probably something, because we're talking about karate, is I haven't trained with any Goju-ryu practitioners whilst I've been on Okinawa, and it's not because I have anything, because it wasn't because I didn't want to do Goju-ryu. I was interested in almost taking a different route, and I guess my way in was spending some time getting to know a little bit about the culture and sort of the history. And you were certainly, both you and Mummy and James, certainly huge help. Meeting Yagi Sensei and Higa Sensei, Arakaki Sensei, Kina Sensei, Ulf Carlson Sensei, and the Nix family, the Nix dojo, Kimi Sensei, so many, honestly too numerous to name, but having so many. Shinzato Sensei, oh my gosh, Shinzato Sensei. Shinzato Sensei is it's like being in the presence of an actual Jedi. Yeah. I mean, but I think the thing which kind of is interesting to note, as I've learned and started to touch a whole bunch of different elements, both within and without the dojo, outside of the dojo. I've just been so very, very lucky to meet amazing practitioners that perhaps they're not teaching me karate, but they're teaching me about Okinawa, and that way teaching me about myself. So I'm really overwhelmed. It's hard to kind of put it into words. But I think for me the overriding thing is that I know that people want to go to like Shirikasu and all those sort of things as well, they should. But I think something which is really powerful for me was going to the Peace Museum. I think that if I bring students out, I think that's where I'd start. not because, oh my gosh, it's to create some notion of anti any sentiment which is against the Japanese or the Americans or the Allies or anything like that, to create a sense of guilt, but to create a sense of gravity.
Yeah.
Because I think, karate, when we went out to Hamahiga, you took us out to Hamahiga, and we were there just training on the beach and talking, and there was no one around. We went in our gi, we just had our ball, and you were helping with some kata, and just being able to be out there and just getting and seeing people go about their daily jobs, go out fishing and all those sorts of things, it was a really powerful reminder of that. Karate, in terms of Okinawa, at least in my meagre opinion, is that our families and our lives and our country and our communities should come first. And the Okinawan people have such a humble way of doing that, and I've been very honoured to see a small fraction of that. And so it's odd. It's going to sound strange, especially since it's a karate podcast. I could almost come to Okinawa and not do karate. Not because my karate is so good, and not because there's not wonderful sensei I want to train with, but because there is such a richness to the culture, to the language, to the history, that includes the conflict in the Second World War, the Battle of Okinawa. There's something to be said for walking through that monument and seeing the names as the hundreds of thousands of people who perished on all sides of the conflict, and going to what I don't like to use this term, but what is loosely termed the suicide cliffs, and realising the gravity of what these people have been through. And then to open their doors and allow karate to go both to Japan, to train American and foreign servicemen to go to other countries. And there's a whole lot of things we could kind of get kind of really cynical about, but I've been really amazed. I mean, getting to spend time with Patrick McCarthy Sensei, James took me over there to meet him, and you got to remember, I've grown up reading about these people, seeing their videos and reading their books, and just going, man. So it was amazing to be in his presence, and he gave me a really cool shirt and a whole bunch of other stuff, and I have to visit him. But it's just been every day is kind of, I get back to the apartment or wherever I'm staying, and I just sort of sit there and look at the ceiling and just can't believe how lucky I am. So I'm very indebted. I mean, and then our own, the one and only Pat Miguel Sensei here with us, and his lovely wife Lloyd and their son Vinny. Yeah. I mean, getting to spend time with him on his home soil and hear his stories has been just amazing.
So, Tuari's been talking about this so much. I mean, there's been so much going on outside of the dojo, but in the dojo as well, there's a couple things that I want to point out that I think were pretty remarkable, but are almost they're not that uncommon here in Okinawa. So Tuari was here to share his culture as well, to share the Maori martial arts, the song, not dance, but the the haka, and then the training of their weapons, and how they do that, through their gaming system, how they teach children from a young age. It was fantastic to see. I got to record his first seminar that was at the Isato Dojo, day one of the Isato Dojo, day two out on the beach in the ocean. And then I participated in the next time that he taught his session at the Nix family dojo, very close to my home. And incredible. I've been telling you about the Nix family for years.
Almost amazing. If you come to Okinawa and you have an opportunity to go and train with Ron and Akimi in Nix, the beautiful dojo, please make contact with Josh, and it is well worth it, just from the perspective of they're wonderful people, great practitioners, beautiful dojo, and really embody the spirit of what I think is Okinawa.
So when we went through after his training, and everyone there is a martial artist that was doing the training, Mr. Kimi's also a martial artist, but then she does the traditional dance, the Ryukyu style dance, Odori, and at the end, she said, I want to show you some of our dance, and she talked about it and then demonstrated it. It was so beautiful, and she talked about and demonstrated the connection with the martial arts. Then we go down yesterday to train with Shinzato Sensei, who we have an invite only because of Pat McGale being here on the island, right?
I think so.
Well, Shinzato Sensei also is now teaching some lessons at a dance studio where he studies dance. And his sensei, 85-year-old beautiful Okinawan woman, decided to come down to the dojo and brought us homemade onigiri, the rice balls. And then she did a dance, 3 or 4 dances for us, and Shinzato Sensei had to do it. And they were singing, Tuari actually sang for them. We had another gentleman come over, Akamine Sensei Toshimitsu, I think, first name,
I think so.
who was a student of Hohan Soken. And then he sang a song that he wrote about his sensei. All this sharing of culture. Of course, they noticed Tuari's tattoos, and they're like, oh, this is the same as our old culture. And I think that was probably... I know you were very worried about that when you came... Before you came to Okinawa, you and I talked about it a lot, about the tattoos. And tattoos and the culture of Japanese can have a bad connotation and kind of the Yakuza background and who the people that do get the tattoos. But I feel like on Okinawa, other than maybe a little baby or a little toddler every once in a while, I don't think anybody ever really looked at you strange.
Yeah, it was funny because, you know, like it was my first time because I had my matora, my facial tattoo, done last year. And so it was my first international trip. And usually my physical stature, I'm 6'4" and a big guy. So there's always that element to it, but adding sort of the ink and wearing summer clothes, you know, because it's so hot here. And I was kind of a little bit concerned. Not concerned in the sense of what people say, but concerned in the sense that I didn't want to offer offence. You know, I didn't want to put people in awkward positions. And to be honest, walking down the street, no one seemed to notice. I'm sure they did, but just respectfully didn't say anything about it. When I sat down, like for instance with Matsuda Sensei, intangible Okinawan cultural treasure that he is, and his Sanchin's shop, store, beautifully appointed with this master. You know, when we got more comfortable, they started, both he and his family and friends started to ask me questions about the tamoko, about the tattoos that I wear, and it led to some really amazing experiences. And so when I was on Tokyo, then I got sort of a few scares. One particular gentleman came out of a bathroom. I was in the bathroom and I was washing my hands, and this elderly Japanese gentleman, I think we were in Harajuku, and he came out of the store behind me, and he wasn't expecting, and I turned around and I was going to get out of his way so he could wash up, and he goes, "Hey!" He just backs back into the store, locks the door. You can hear him fumbling with the lock, and I'm going, "Oh my gosh!" He wasn't prepared for what waited for him
in the bathroom.
Yeah, but generally, to be totally honest, people are very, very. People don't even seem to notice it. I suppose you just is a gaijin smash, and it's just another crazy foreigner.
That's it. Yeah, and a lot of them. New Zealand, though. You know, a lot of them would ask where were you from, or they already kind of knew, and they were happy to share the culture. And I think that's a big thing about Okinawa. They love to share their culture. They love it when other people share theirs. They expect everyone to sing or do something, right?
What you know, like what was really amazing what was really incredible. I hadn't been in the country for an hour, and then when I noticed when Josh and I got here. And then we went to the car park, parked the car up across the road from the Sato Dojo. We're going to see James Sensei and Dan Anderson Sensei, wonderful practitioner of both Kabuto and Karate, Gojuru. No biases here. Was just walking across the car park, casual in a gi pants, t-shirt, carrying an iku that he was going to be working on, and that set the kind of tone for this opportunity in Okinawa.
Yeah.
It has at times been so overwhelming that I've had quite a hard time taking it all in, but I think I know that people are not asking for advice, but I think take time to think about the contribution you want to make back to Okinawa, and maybe it's not in terms of money, or maybe it's not in terms of tangible things, but I think learn a little more than just what it is that we're interested in. It's encouraged me to do so, like coming here wanting to learn. Get better at Gojuru or Karate or whatever it is. Maybe my contribution is learning more and trying to not be an expert, but just sort of being, appropriate and respectful, and realising sort of what people actually went through to during those turbulent war years, and much further back to create this art that we do. I think people want to rush to. I know I certainly did want to do all the touristy kind of things, which is cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think if we can think about as foreigners when we come here, what is that we want to leave behind? And I would hope some sense of, Okinawan people seem to be very much at home with who they are. Mm-hmm. And they're struggling to just live lives like the rest of us, to live in a culture that's kind of been imposed on them, but also move towards a better future. I think it's really important that when we come here, that's what I'm learning, is all I have to be is myself, try and be a better version of myself. I don't have to come and try and be Okinawan, or I'm just trying to be myself. And I think that's the thing which has really resonated with me with this trip. Just amazing.
Outside of my great sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
So I know right now probably some people like Michael and James and those guys are probably thinking, well, where's the bloopers? I wish we had a camera following us around.
So many bloopers. So many bloopers.
This guy.
So let's go. Let's do a checklist. making fun of my accent. Hard.
Not making fun of it.
Yeah.
Just pointing it out.
What do you mean? That's kind of. But the way you do it is making fun. Just so you know. Here's some of the highlights, and all good-natured stuff. Me and Josh just joking around with each other, and so last night we were going out to Hamahiga Beach, and for whatever reason we put on. I'm a few years older than Josh, as you can tell. But we put on some Meatloaf, and I don't think we've heard the song in
Well, we sat here one of the other nights for probably 2 hours just playing music on YouTube, right? He shamed me into subscribing to YouTube because I had too many commercials popping up. Yeah. So I got the 2 months for free. Yeah. So then I said, I don't have commercials anymore. We can watch YouTube and scroll through videos. And we were just like, oh, I got one for you, right? Yeah. And going back to our music history list, there's so much in common about the type of music that we listen to, and reminiscing about old times and telling stories. And, the fish was always this big stories type deal. So we're driving out to Hamahiga Island last night with the McGale family to have a little fire and hang out. And
they're in a different car.
Do some kata. And, they let their son ride with us most of the way out there. So sorry if we've changed his future. Oh, yeah.
Only because of our song choices. Shall we say that our song choices were more pertinent to our generation?
Yeah. So we're at... we pull off into this family mart to get some snacks before we go out to Hamahiga Island, and I get back in the car and what does he have queued up? Meatloaf's Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
And so we're in this beautiful tropical island with the home of karate, the sacred island, going over a bridge, and we're singing. We were just.
Blaring Paradise,
yelling,
and surprisingly, we had all the lyrics.
Yeah,
we remembered all the lyrics. Hadn't heard that song in probably 20 years.
So we're opening in Vegas next week. If you want to come, guys. So it's going to be a Meatloaf retrospective. It's going to be amazing. We're going to go all the way tonight. 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 It was amazing. It wasn't in tune, and no one would want to hear it, but it was magical.
I've probably been hitting the groin more times in the past month than I've ever been in my entire life. That is a fact.
We should probably get some context here.
Yeah, there's no context.
Let me explain something to you, okay? Okay, so Josh and I were talking about the nature of friendship, and I said, Josh, the nature of friendship is when one friend will allow the other friend to be to crack them and the nads at every opportunity, and I did.
At every opportunity.
But we're out there doing some training. Josh is kind enough to take me to Hamahiga. He's setting up, we're just trying to get some footage of this kata so I can learn it. And he's setting the phone up. So I'm
setting the phone up on a big chunk of coral out there because we didn't have a tripod. I'm bent over with my back facing him.
And grab the ball and it just went down. I went bonk, and in the daddy bags. And this guy
That's pretty much how it started.
just goes over, and then it just became
After that,
become
it's
a
like
month
every chance I get.
of because Josh is only 47 and I'm 51, so we're not that mature. So you can imagine, but on a kind of a more serious note, we've had, I think.
We've had good training. Let's not lie. We've had
fantastic
phenomenal training, right?
Yeah.
I mean, between the two, for you, I'm gonna step out here and say what I observed. Probably the two most different people that you trained with was probably Ulf Carlson Sensei and Shinzato Sensei. Number one, outside of your normal style, but number two, their approach, I think is quite different.
Well, I mean, then you're also adding Arakaki Sensei, who was the first sensei I trained with on this visit, who was kind enough to have me in his home dojo. Beautiful karate, beautiful dojo, and as I've kind of said in my own podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like the literal bull in a China shop. It was horrible. In terms of, from my perspective, they were very nice. He was very accommodating. I was overheating. I was probably the same colour as Josh's shirt.
Yep.
But it was great. But as you say, having training with different people, and of course doing the seminars and things like that, and watching people move, and doing kobudo and whatnot. Yeah, I think with Shinzato Sensei, Ulf Sensei, Arakaki Sensei, in a sense, there's a common bond there in terms of style, and with Pat Sensei as well, and yet they follow really distinct fields of study within that kind of, I guess, genealogy, and it was really amazing. And a lot of times I couldn't understand what I was seeing, to be totally honest, and it wasn't a matter of style. I think good karate when you see it, and I saw excellent karate and excellent kobudo. But there's a difference between seeing something and understanding it.
Yeah.
But at least I experienced it. And I think for me, I was sort of jokingly saying it was like, being a little excited about creating the wheel, and then a 747 flies over your head, and I had no reference for what I was seeing. But I absolutely know that there's another level that I may or may not reach, but I want to walk towards it. And also, going to train in Kina Sensei's beautiful dojo was amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
We had a great session up there, and of course, beautiful traditional dojo that you kind of see on the movies. At like 70 years old, so I was a little bit worried that my foot was going to go through the floor. But having an opportunity to meet a distinguished Okinawan gentleman and master such as him, it was a huge honour too. So it's just been amazing. It's just been absolutely amazing.
Well, it's been an honor to have you here, and we can't wait for you to come back. And now everyone's saving money to try to fly to New Zealand and train with him down there and experience his home country. So
come on down. Yeah, and I also want to sort of quickly do a shout out to your daughter's hula teacher, and also to her alakai, who welcomed us here. Was one of the first events where we all got to sort of be together. It was a really amazing.
Yeah, the first event we took you to the hula studio and got to share, and they absolutely loved it. They were amazed. Yeah. Tears were flowing. The sharing of the culture, it does that to people.
Yeah.
Very, very good time.
And also to James Pankowicz Sensei's family, to our brother Steve, who was a translator who took me up to the Peace Museum, who's an Anzac brother from Australia. To Miltos, to Tony, to brother Andy, all the people that I've met and that we've had an opportunity to train with. It's been amazing. I'm so thankful, guys. If you're coming to Okinawa, all I would say is just focus on really taking some time to just, not just in terms of karate, but in terms of the culture that produced it, to just experience it in hopefully a meaningful way.
It is a little bit hard to get around the island if you don't have a car, you don't know where you're going and stuff like that. Public transportation is great. The monorail in Naha. Other than that, it's buses, taxis, and renting a car or begging people. And he did pay me a lot of money to drive him around, so I had opened 4 extra bank accounts for that.
Yeah, but I got neck injuries, back injuries. The psychological injuries. I mean, this is
Well, that's the worst of them all.
Hey, I also want to do a quick shout out again, bro. Another highlight of being here was going down to Tokyo and meeting Joe Swift Sensei, who's an historian who took time out of his busy schedule because James had organised it to come and sit down. Honestly, just amazing conversations. Yeah, it's been a really amazing. And also, I want to do a shout out to my darling Tawa, who has been holding it down at home. You know, whilst we're running around pursuing a fight we never want to have with techniques we don't want to use, there's real sacrifice. So yeah, I my love and deep respect for her keeping our family together and being such a pillar of strength while I've been here. Be beautiful. That's one thing I do note. We all have amazing people in our lives that support us. Yep. Very lucky.
Yep, we are. We are very lucky. I'm lucky to have you here, brother.
Thanks,
I'm really, really honored to have you here in the house. And to train with you and meet you in person first time. All joking aside, it was not focused on karate, really, honest to God, this time here.
Damiani Sensei.
Damiani Sensei, who is the creator of this gorgeous fine art, which this is Damiani Sensei, this is me, literally. We took a photo and then had
Could hold that closer, man.
and a graphic artist designed that, and he printed it out.
Isn't it amazing?
And then it made another one here, which is kind of based off of Shirley Castle design, or Castle's on Okinawa design. Same pose, and I know it's hard to see in this, but weapons there, Tunfa, Nunchaku Asai.
That's beautiful.
Laying on the ground.
Amazing.
After we used all of our weapons, we went to empty hand, of course, because that's what you do. So if you're interested in any of that BJJ art, let me know.
Oh, hey, look, Damiani Sensei, the thing that we always talk about, we really kind of understand is the elements of flow. If you're coming to, whether you do BJJ, you're interested or not, get his book, come spend some time with him, take him for a coffee.
I'll take you to the dojo.
Reach out to Josh, go and train. I learned so much, and his students were so very kind with me. I was like blown away, both with their technique, their spirit, and their friendliness, and a different kind of session from anything I've ever been.
That's one thing that when I took Tuari to the BJJ house is what it's called, the dojo, Bujitsu house, not for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because Damiani Sensei, although he's teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he wants to look at it as all martial arts are welcome, all martial artists are welcome. And one of the things you said right after we left, or maybe we were still there, is it wasn't a place where you walked in and you felt like people were eyeballing you, like sizing you up. Of course, not many people are going to do that to him anyway, right? But I don't think you've probably felt that once on Okinawa.
No, I haven't.
And that's kind of the...
I mean, people jokingly refer to my size. I mean, obviously I've been compared to a sumo tori. I mean, one sensei pointed out that I weighed more than his horse. I had to pick up a car at one point because the cars are very small here just to prove that I could.
He's picked up people too.
Yeah, we were at a class. Yeah, it's the whole thing.
Just joking around, right?
Pick up a couple people.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna get rolling. We have to head back to Naha, meet up with James Pankovic, and you've got a busy few days ahead of you before you fly out.
Yeah.
So, and you need to start planning your return trip.
Yeah.
With Tewa this time. Mm-hmm. You're not coming alone. So, once again, thanks for coming on the podcast live and in person, in the flesh, and for having a good time with me.
Oh man, it's been great. Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro. And to all our fans listening out there around the world.
If you want a video of the Paradise by the Dashboard Light, you can send a large donation
to OnlyFans.
Large donation to Josh at OkinawaKaratePodcast.com. PayPal donation.
Let me slip on ahead, baby, let me slip
and I may share that video with you.
Let me slip on it. Okay, you're not ready. Your brain's not ready. The will's not ready. For the damage.
If the donation's large enough, I'll share it. But anyway, thanks for tuning in to the Invisible Sensei
and to the Okinawa Karate Podcast.
We always appreciate your support.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. As always, thank you for tuning in to the Okinawa Karate Podcast, the only karate podcast coming to you from the birthplace of karate, Okinawa, Japan.
Oh yeah. You're the last one to come out. Look at this guy. Good to meet you, brother.
Good to meet
Holy
you.
crap.
Take this one.